Guys, I'm Diane. Welcome to day 5 of Dairy Month with the Inquisitive Farmwife and the Mennonite Farmhouse. Excuse me because the entire herd is with me and checking out what I'm doing. But I thought I'd introduce myself. We are Shalehoe Farmstead. We have a very small farm in Pennsylvania with 3 permanent dairy goats and total of 9 goats right now till they go to their new homes next week. And follow along with Dairy Month because there's Leanne and Inquisitive Farmwife have some awesome prizes coming. But welcome to our tiny little introduction of why I chose dairy goats. Chose goats because a cow was just too much output each day for our little family. It was a little overwhelming to have the idea of several gallons each day, which is also why I chose the dwarf goats. I am getting from 2 does just about half a gallon a day, and that's from 1 milking. I really wanted to hand milk, but you can kind of see me hooking up the machine here. My hands weren't holding up to it. So I do a machine when I need to. I still enjoy hand milking, but wasn't enjoying the cramping so much. This is Annie. She's my top milker. She's generally pretty good on the stand for me, and I can use her for quite a few demonstrations, but anybody who has met her in person knows that she's not the nicest to anybody who's not her people. The unfortunate part is that she's got horns, and so it hurts. You see me bumping her? I mimic kind of what the kids would do to help extract the milk. I started considering goats because it was one more way to kind of shorten the food chain and have a pretty good idea of what went into our food, in addition to the fact that we had some brush that we needed to manage. And since goats are good browsers, that and some portable electric fencing were a really good way to help reduce the need for pesticides and herbicides use on our property, which is another goal, is to minimize this. You can see Annie's keeping it really real this morning. Every so often she turns into a twit. But that's leads to another piece too. When you're getting started in goats, or with any milking animal, any dairy animal, give yourself grace. You have to learn the goat has to learn you, the animal has to learn you. You have to learn what works best for the 2 of you. And each one is different, just like humans. They each have personalities. My other girl, Lavender, right now does not really enjoy being on the milking stand as much. She gets impatient, like she'll tolerate to a point, and then she gets very impatient with me. Looks like a boring video of a bucket, right? This is actually how I reduce waste on the homestead. I save the water that I use to wash up after milking. I save and strain the water that comes out of their buckets because goats need clean water like every other animal. So when I dump their water, I can actually dump it into a bigger container to use on our garden and some other things, which is kind of nice too because it's been such a dry spring here in Pennsylvania. We've had under 0.2 of an inch of rain in very nearly a month. You can do this and be pretty sustainable, really. Here's what she gave me. Let's take it inside. And then the process is pretty simple. I'm just going to take my milk from each doe. I like to keep track of the production and strain it out. I had 2 containers for Annie this morning because Most of my half-gallon jars were dirty, and that's fine. So we'll pour this through. I expect more than a quart from her, more than a liter. So what I've actually been doing, I'll show you here in just a second, is getting it in there and straining it. And then you can see I'm over the 1 quart line. And that's fine because I'm marking down in liters anyway. And I turn it around and my meniscus is just about at the 1,000 milliliter or 1 liter line. I put my strainer on top of the funnel and I'm just restraining it. I don't like little hairs in it, so. And this will give me homogenized milk between 80 and live. I almost forgot to show you. She is at slightly ahead of a kilo. And the way I have my spreadsheet set up, once I put my pencil number in, I'll show you that here in a second, then the computer converts everything to pounds and fluid ounces as well, just because I like to see all. I have it all put together and restrained. I just mark it. I have one of those paintable chalk markers that I use on the outside of my jar, and it goes right in the fridge. As my example, a super fancy sheet. It's just got the date. It's got a spot for milliliters. You can see when she's over 1,000. I'm just marking that as 1,000 plus. And then the number of hours, didn't mark it officially here, and whatever notes that I want to put in with it. And the way I do things leaves me with a sink full of dishes in the morning. Often I do them right away because they're really not a big deal to do. This morning I need to go move fencing, so I'm going to go do that first. Because I don't have a spot outside, I tote my stuff with me every day. I think my favorite part about having a ready supply of goat milk and cream is discovering how many different ways you can actually use it. We've used it basically interchangeably for any other type of milk, in cream, butter, ice cream, caramels, and of course soaps and lotions, which are kind of the mainstay of the Shale Hollow business. I hope you'll ask questions in the comments section. Thanks for joining me. I've also got the ice cream recipe here so that you can screenshot it. It's so simple.